You have 2 more tanks.
I do. One is an anemone tank, and then the other one is a lagoon.
So here we go. So this is what, an old school?
Yeah, I think it's a Marineland tank. So I bought it used from someone, made the stand, bought this used, and
They stopped making them.
are they? Yeah.
Yep. You don't find this tank anymore.
No. I've heard that they'll have stability issues if you have the old stand. So that's why I ended up, building my own stand, something a little bit more sturdy. But my wife and I always wanted an anemone tank, right? And of course, for that reason. When you just have the clowns that are always burying themselves in the nymphs, it's like the ultimate of symbiotic relationship in the reefing world. So we knew we didn't want to have the nymphs with all our other coral, so we decided, let's build a tank, have that in there. And then of course, a couple of corals just made their way in here, but I stuck with green corals just to have that contrast against the, the red-orange of the nymphs. And yeah, it's a very easily run tank. Don't do too much with it. Very low maintenance with the nymphs, and
looks beautiful, man.
Very,
beautiful.
very easy. But yeah, the nymphs are loving it in here.
So let me ask you something. So you got 2 different type of anemones in there?
I think there's maybe 3 or 4. So when I got them from people, they have, so these, they call them, the guy called them a flame tip bubble,
okay,
a pink tip bubble, and they have rainbow, the smaller like
Gotcha.
rainbow nymphs, and then they have what's called a Sherman. So the Sherman is more the black with the red tips, but the Shermans have not been liking life with the other nymphs. So if you look in the back glass, one of them migrated to the back. This is a Sherman here on the left.
Yeah.
But they tend to not want to be amongst the other ones.
It's like they say they don't like each other, but you can get them together, but obviously one's gonna dominate. They're just so happy.
They're all kind of in the same family, right? They're all that bubble tip, sort of in the rose bubble tip family. But the Shermans seem a little bit different. They don't really have the bulbs. Every once in a while they'll have some bulbs, but they seem the most different. I tried to put green in here, and they got melted right away. They can't survive in here.
They can't. No. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then you got some leathers and some star polyps and a couple of mushrooms, and that's about it, right?
Yeah. So I had the GSP, some on the back wall before, but it was starting to get into the pump, so I ended up, scrapping that, put some just on the rocks, and that grew out. Yeah, this leather, he's been getting up into almost in the flow, but he's been getting stung. And for whatever reason, he's just kind of been sulking lately. So
gotcha.
He's probably going to end up where we're going to go next.
Yeah.
Into the
lagoon,
into the overflow area, into the lagoon. And then a couple mushrooms they got floating around in here.
So for flow, you got an MP10 back there? Is that what that is?
That's right. There's an MP10, of course, with a nymph guard, which actually you see it's off because that nymph got sucked in there about a day or so ago. So its flow is off. So MP10, and then I have a Jara here as well, providing the majority of the flow.
Gotcha. And then you got the 3 strips?
Yep, 3 strips, and actually I only run 2 strips at a time. One of them ended up going out, and the nymphs liked it better with slightly less light. So I just leave 2 lights going.
So it works better.
Yep. They seem. I don't know if it's. I mean, they got this slight stretch to them, so they're coming out a little bit more. But they've been multiplying and way more happy now that it's just the two lights.
And then you mentioned this tank is a lot easier maintenance?
Yeah, very much so.
So what do you do?
So all I do is calc in my auto top off, and then every once in a while I'll dump a little soda ash in there just to bump up. I could tell when the alkalinity or pH is a little low, just visually. I can see a little bit more cyano will start to grow, stuff like that. So when I see that, I'll just dump in a little bit of soda ash, and then I can tell things are better. So I'll test this one only every few months or so. I just kind of let it do its thing. But yeah, soda ash in the auto top off as well, so we can take a look. So I run carbon every once in a while, and then filter socks, a small skimmer, and then I'll add some aminos every once in a while. I find they do like the aminos too when I do it.
Some Brightwell amino acids?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Cool. You got a little carbon going on?
Yep.
Skimmer's pulling out some nasty
yeah,
stuff.
it sure is. I'm assuming that's a lot of gunk from the NIMS, but it definitely, that little skimmer is a workhorse. Yeah, I usually run UV on this tank. It just, when I first set it up, I always had like sort of cloudy water and stuff like that. So I put it on and it did a fantastic job. And so I just always left the UV sterilizer going, and it's done well, except for the last few days. It's been down and just got to get another one.
So what do you do when you got too many anemones?
Yeah, so they start crawling like this, right? So I just collect them and sell them to some buddies, or you know, give them to a local fish store or whatever. But
because you got to have 100 of them.
Yeah, there's a ton of them in here. Yeah.
Well, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's go see the final tank. You got one more to go, right? Let's go see the lagoon.
More.
Come on. Ready? All right, so this is something totally different.
Yeah.
So where are we? In your garage.
Yep.
This used to be what, a closet?
No, actually I made the closet around the lagoon. So I put this wall and door just for this. Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's gone crazy with this hobby. Can you guys see it? So anyhow, how big is this thing? It looks like a
so
300?
It's about 315 gallons. So anyway, there was a little jut out in the garage. So when looking at it, I had some extra tile laying around the house. And I was like, how cool would it be to build a lagoon in the garage? So I tiled the wall, tiled the bottom, got a glass from an old aquarium. This is all cinder blocks, and then flex sealed everything inside. So it's 88 inches wide. I think it's 35 inches deep, and then about 30 inches tall.
It's so cool, man.
So it's about those numbers, but yeah, I've done the math before, and it comes out to about 315 gallons or so.
So how was this idea born?
Yeah, so if you see in the tank, we have a cowfish.
Yeah.
So we bought that cowfish as a little bitty tiny cowfish. He lived in the main tank for a handful of years, but he outgrew it. He started picking at some of the coral, and it's my wife's favorite fish. I really like him too because he's like a little puppy.
Got you. It's like a pet.
Yeah, so we wanted to still keep him. So we thought about just getting a bigger aquarium in this room, but of course I came up with this idea for the lagoon, and so this essentially was built for him.
Gotcha, I love it. And it's so cool how you got this basket up here with your meat corals, your backup coral, the Zoa cyphestria. I mean, the torch is over there, a couple of nice zoas.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of everything. And down here, this pink burnets, the palitoas. I mean, look at the size of that candy cane down there, bro.
They grow like crazy in here. Yeah, the LPS really like living in here. It's great. So when I built this, it was kind of supposed to mainly be, you know, for the fish. But of course, being a coral addict, you know, overflow comes into here. So he got, the cowfish got kicked out, the other one for nipping at the corals.
Okay.
So that's why this is boxed in.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's boxed in so he don't go, and he's too big to sort of get up on top of that area. So he don't really mess with the sticks. He likes to bite at euphyllia. That was his main go-to. So I like my euphyllia. I didn't want him biting the euphyllia.
So you keep him away.
So he's boxed away from that. So a lot of this bird's nest, Monty, that was just stuff that was overgrowing in the other tank, and I just trimmed it out. And I don't want to say that I don't care about the coral necessarily, but it's kind of just extra, right? So it's
it was
just
mainly for him.
overflow into here.
Yeah, buddy. That's cool. So let me ask you, how do you maintain this tank? Is it the same as the inside?
So being that it's mostly, you know, for the fish and everything, I don't do all that much for it. So if you see the filtration here, all that's been running on it is filter socks, and then it feeds through a UV sterilizer. That's it. I had a skimmer for a little while. It's off. I might put one back, but that's it. That's all.
That's the filtration,
That's all the filtration. Now, for water changes, what I do is when I do a water change for the 210 inside, I'll take the water from there and then I trickle
Got
down
you.
into here. So I'll pull water out of here and then I'll take water from the inside tank and I
Gotcha.
put it in here. Because this tank's nutrients are way higher than the inside, so it's more clean water coming from that.
Where do you keep your nitrates and phosphates here?
So it's very elevated on the nutrient side. So
Is it?
nitrate, it's not hard, it's not crazy, but 25-30 nitrate, but the phosphate's about 0.8.
Should concentrate to growing mushrooms in here.
Yeah, very much. But you would think that, but like some of the
Acres.
SPS, like
They're liking it.
they like it for whatever reason. So yeah, the nutrients are on the higher side. But one thing that's really off basis for anything that I've ever done, the alkalinity in here, the highest that I've ever tested is 4.9.
Why?
It's just when I set it up, I was just letting everything run. I was
4.9.
4.9. Yeah, 4.9. So I was paying attention to the fish, putting the coral in. Coral's doing good. Everything looks good to the eye, so I wasn't testing. And then I sold a coral to somebody, and he tested the water. He asked, he was like, "What do you run your alkalinity at?" I was like, thinking about my inside tank, I'm like around 8.
Yeah.
And he said the water is like 4.5, 4.5. I'm like, there's no way. So it's like 10:30 at night. I hurry up, I come, I take a sample. I did my reading. It was 4.7.
Wow.
And everything looks like it does now. The torches were looking good. The bird's nest was growing like crazy. Like everything was doing really well. Like the candy cane, I just took that one outside, so they should puff up like these.
Wow.
Everything was doing really well. So my mentality was, well, if it's doing well, just kind of keep it. I did dose a little bit extra to slightly do it, but my assumption that's what's going on is being that it's outside to the outside air, that the pH must be a little higher.
A lot
It's
higher.
strict, it's no carbon dioxide
Yeah.
built up in here.
A lot higher.
So the pH is more elevated than what the alkalinity is. So I guess that's what the key is. But yeah,
I never heard that before. That's crazy. It's working for you, man. Whatever.
It works. It's doing well. The torches, everything loves it. But what surprised me the most was some of the SPS in here, that they are just doing their thing. And
Wow.
they're doing well. So
What about fish? So you got the box fish.
right.
You got a white-tailed damsel over there.
Yep. That's right.
Yellow tang.
Yep.
Fiji foxface.
Yep.
You got a sailfin tang.
Di
Giardini.
sailfin. But like the other tank, except for the cow, that was all people were kicking them out of their tanks. He was a coral biter. That one was. Those two were aggressive. Well, the sailfin was aggressive. The coal tang was aggressive, and the yellow tang was actually the least aggressive. He was in a tank of 6 or 7 yellow tangs in a single tank, and he was the one that was being bullied. So I took him in, and they're all model citizens in here for some
Gotcha.
reason. I don't know if they like the volume, the rock skate or whatever, but they don't pick at each other. They do really well, and that's it. So yeah, just a handful of fish in here.
Well, you happen to be in the New Orleans area and you got a mean fish picking at your corals. You know where to go now, guys.
Right. I got a home.
Everybody, you're known for that by now, huh?
That's right. Yeah. No, I get a lot of people asking me for fish, but some of these coral too. Like even though the parameters are odd in here, I've had multiple people like this Fabia that's behind you.
Yeah.
That thing was dying in someone's tank, and he asked me to put it in here, and it's been coming back to life.
It's magical.
Yeah. Some of these torches weren't they were like underneath.
Yeah, because I can see it there.
Yeah, well, I fragged that one and it ended up breaking. But they come in here and they color up. They look great, and so why change anything? It's working. I don't know why or how.
Well, whatever you're doing,
but-
Kelsi, is working, man. So don't change much. That's what I will do.
I'm leaving it go.
All right, well, buddy. Thank you for having us over, man.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. Your lagoon, your
sure.
anemone tank, your 210. Again, beautiful corals, beautiful fish. For 6.5 years, you're going pretty crazy. I can tell.
Thanks. Yeah.
So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Leave some comments below. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
All right.